Have you ever felt that sinking feeling in your chest? That feeling when you've tried so hard to be good, to do the right thing, to live a mindful life. But then one tiny mistake happens, and suddenly your whole day feels ruined. It's like a single dark cloud that just won't go away, no matter how bright the sun is. You replay the moment over and over, criticizing yourself, feeling restless and agitated. If you've ever felt this way, you're not alone. And this story is for you. It's a profound teaching from the wise Saint Maskinji, a story that can completely change how you see your own spiritual journey and your so-called imperfections. Once, a young seeker, with a heart full of earnestness, but weighed down by anxiety, came to see Saint Maskinji. You could see the struggle on his face. He approached the revered teacher, bowed, and said, "Babaji, I'm trying so hard. I meditate every morning. I pray. I make a conscious effort to live a righteous and kind life. But the smallest thing, the tiniest slip-up, shakes my very core. If I say a slightly harsh word, or have a fleeting negative thought, it throws me off balance for the entire day. I feel so restless, so agitated. Why does this happen? Is my practice weak? Am I failing?" Saint Maskinji listened patiently, his eyes filled with a gentle compassion that seemed to understand the young man's struggle without a single word being spoken. There was no judgment in his gaze, only a calm, knowing presence. When the seeker had finished pouring out his heart, Saint Maskinji didn't offer a complex philosophical answer. Instead, he simply smiled. It was a smile that seemed to say, "I understand. It's okay." He then reached over and picked up a piece of pristine, white cloth that was lying nearby. It was immaculate, a brilliant, clean white. He held it up for the young seeker to see, letting it catch the light. "Look at this cloth," he said, his voice calm and steady. "It is pure, it is clean. Now, imagine if a single, tiny speck of dust, just one little black dot, were to fall upon it. What would happen?" The young man looked at the cloth and replied, "Well, Babaji, I would be drawn to it immediately. That one small spot would stand out so clearly against the white background." Saint Maskinji nodded in agreement. "Exactly. Your attention would go straight to that tiny imperfection. Now," he continued, as he gestured to a dusty, muddy rag lying in a corner, "what if this cloth were already dirty? What if it was covered in mud and grime? If one more stain, one more speck of dirt, fell onto that muddy rag, would anyone even notice it? Would it bother you?" The seeker thought for a moment, and then shook his head. "No, Babaji. On a cloth that's already so soiled, one more stain would make no difference at all. It would just blend in." Saint Maskinji's gentle smile returned. He set the white cloth down and looked directly into the young seeker's eyes. "This discomfort you feel, my son, this restlessness you experience over the smallest mistake, it is not a sign of your weakness. It is not a sign of failure. In fact, it is a sign of your inner cleanliness. It's proof that your awareness is growing." He let that sink in for a moment before continuing. "Think about it. When a person lives a life without any awareness, a life steeped in unconscious habits and reactions, mistakes pile up one on top of the other. They make one mistake, then another, and another. Soon, the conscience becomes so buried under the weight of these actions that it stops sending signals. It stops hurting. The person becomes numb to their own missteps. They don't even notice the stains anymore, just like the muddy rag. But you," he said, his voice becoming softer, "you are polishing your awareness. You are cleaning the cloth of your consciousness through your meditation, your prayers, your effort to live rightly. Your heart is becoming like that white cloth. And because it is becoming so clean, even the tiniest speck of dust, the smallest mistake, becomes immediately visible. It stands out. The discomfort you feel is your awareness telling you, look, something is here that doesn't belong. It's a signal, not a judgment. The young seeker listened intently, a flicker of understanding dawning in his eyes. He had always seen his sensitivity as a flaw, a sign that he wasn't strong enough. But now, he was beginning to see it in a completely new light. Still, one question lingered. He asked, "Babaji, I understand what you're saying. But if it's a sign of progress, then why does it trouble me so much? Why does it cause such deep restlessness and steal my peace?" This was the heart of the matter, and Sim Maskinji's next words were the key to unlocking the young man's prison of self-criticism. He replied softly, because the ego is very clever. It is a master of disguise. Sometimes, it sneaks into our spiritual life wearing the clothes of spirituality itself. You start your journey with a pure intention to connect with the divine, to become a better person. But along the way, the ego whispers in your ear. It starts to demand perfection. It says, "You are a spiritual person now. You should not make mistakes. You must be flawless." He paused, letting the weight of his words settle. You see, it is no longer about the mistake itself. It's about the ego's image of itself as a perfect spiritual practitioner. When you make a small mistake, it's not your soul that's in turmoil. It is your ego that is wounded. Your ego cannot bear the thought of being imperfect. It panics, it creates drama, it makes you feel like a failure. This restlessness you feel is the protest of a demanding ego, not the gentle guidance of your soul. Remember this, Maskinji continued, his tone full of wisdom and warmth. Banji devotion, the spiritual path, is not about becoming a perfectly spotless cloth overnight. That is an impossible standard, and it is a trap of the ego. The true path is about seeing the stain, acknowledging it without panic, and then gently, lovingly, washing it away. It's about the process of cleaning, not the state of being permanently clean. He leaned forward slightly, his eyes holding the young man's gaze. A truly clean heart, a heart filled with awareness, does not panic over a speck of dust. It sees the dust, it acknowledges it, and it simply removes it. There is no drama, no self-flagellation, no days of restlessness. It's a simple, calm action. You see the stain, you smile with the self-awareness that you noticed it, and then you gently wash it. And then you move on, with your cloth just as clean as before. The young seeker felt a profound sense of release, as if a heavy chain had just been broken from round his heart. All this time, he had been fighting himself, judging himself, caught in a cycle of striving for an impossible perfection, and then punishing himself for failing. He had mistaken the voice of his ego for the voice of his conscience. He had mistaken his heightened sensitivity for failure, when all along, it was a sign that he was on the right path. It was a sign that his inner vision was becoming clearer. He understood now. His spiritual practice wasn't meant to make him infallible. It was meant to make him aware. The goal wasn't to never get a speck of dust on the cloth, but to become so mindful that he noticed the dust immediately and had the grace to clean it without despair. The restlessness wasn't the problem, the reaction to the restlessness was. The young man bowed deeply before Sant Maskinji, his heart no longer heavy, but light and full of gratitude. He left that day a different person. He walked away not with a new technique or a new prayer, but with a new perspective, a gentler, more compassionate way of looking at himself and his journey. He realized that his sensitivity, the very thing that had caused him so much pain, was not a failure at all. It was, in fact, a precious gift, a step that was bringing him closer and closer to the truth. So the next time you find yourself agitated over a small mistake, remember the story of the white cloth. Don't let your ego turn a tiny speck of dust into a catastrophic stain. See it for what it is, a sign that your awareness is alive and well. Acknowledge it, smile at your own beautiful, human imperfection, and then gently wash it away. The path isn't about being perfect. It's about being present, being aware, and being kind especially to yourself. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please give this video a like, share it with someone who might need to hear it, and subscribe for more content that helps us navigate this beautiful journey of life with a little more wisdom and a lot more peace. We'll see you in the next video.